as per the Act of the National Climate Change Act 2016, and the directorate was started in the year 2020, and we started off by drafting the legal framework where we drafted the climate change finance policy, the climate change policy, the environment and social safeguards policy, and finally the Climate Change Fund Act that was enacted by our governor in November 2022. And after the enactment, we had now to start off with activities as stipulated in that act, and we have started off by forming the institutions necessary to implement climate change activities in this county. We have the steering committee, which is chaired by our governor. We have the planning committee, which is chaired by our Waziri for Environment and Climate Change. And now we are forming the Ward Climate Change Planning Committees, which are committees at the grassroots, and we are doing it in the 45 wards of Bungoma County. So far, we have done 26 wards, and we still have, we are still going to work on the remaining 19 wards to make sure that we are covering the 45 wards of this county. And I think as regards climate change activities in this county, as enacted in that in the Climate Change Fund Act, the county government is supposed to allocate 2% of its development fund towards climate change activities in this county, and that is an approximate of about 80 million. And we are also expecting some financing from the World Bank, and the World Bank is supposed to finance to a tune of about 50 million in every ward, in every county for the next 3 years. So we are expecting good money, but we will only get money if we are able to meet the requirements. We have already met the minimum requirements, and in the minimum access requirements, we are going to get the Climate Change Institutional Strengthening fund of about 12 million for 2 years, that is 24 million. And after that, we are supposed to do a participatory climate risk assessment report. After the report, that is when now we can be able to meet the requirement to access the climate change resilience institutional funds. So that is the 50 million that we have been talking about. So we are almost there so that the money can come into this county. And as regards climate change, I would really want to say that climate change has really affected each and every member of the community, especially when it comes to issues of food security. And as regards food security, we are now not sure of the weather patterns in our county. We used to tell our farmers that they should have planted by the 21st of March of every year. But unfortunately, now we are not sure. And the rains are also, they are staggered. You don't get rains as in short rain season or a long rain season. Like this year, the rains went up to January from last year up to January of this year. And now we are having a very dry spell with very high temperatures. Those are indications of climate change, whereby we are going to have heat waves, at times we are going to have cold waves, and these ones are going to affect the community, especially the elderly in the community, and even the very young in the community. The women are also being affected, because when it comes to issues of food security, the women work towards providing for the families. They get food from their farms. And if they don't have enough rains, and Bungoma County is rain-fed dependent, the farming is dependent on rain-fed rains, it becomes very hard to provide food in the families. We are also having issues if a woman cannot be able to get some extra yields so that food from the farm and sell in the market. There is the issue of money. So you'll find there's a lot of fighting as women are demanding that the men should provide for money because they cannot not be able to get anything extra from the farm. So I think that is an issue that is really affecting women in this community. And now regarding the International Women's Day, we are really advocating for women to be capacity built and understand how can they be able to adapt to the prevailing weather conditions. How can they be able to mitigate And actually mitigation starts at household level, where we are talking about issues of waste management. We do separation at that level. Then we can have issues of circular economy. The same materials that are coming from the kitchen, they can be used to prepare organic manure, which can also be used in the farm. And now that is the issue of conservation agriculture, whereby you use organic manure in the farm. It is able to retain the little water that is being received, and they are able to get some vegetables and get other food from the farm. I think that is what we are advocating for our women in Bungoma County, and we are not going to tire. We are going to partner with organizations to make sure that we are building the capacity of all the members of Bungoma community to understand how are they going to mitigate, how are they going to adapt to issues of climate change, because it is here with us. It is for us now to take up the mantle and fight it the way we are going to train them. Thank you very much. Something I would really wish to say, that Mount Elgon is a gazetted forest, and it is under the Kenya Forest Services. And the Kenya Forest Services have an office in Bungoma County. What we are doing is we are collaborating with the Kenya Forest Services together with NEMA to make sure that we are building the capacity of the communities that are living in Mount Elgon. We have also put in the CIDP and in our work plan that we are going to plant more than 31,000 trees in Mount Elgon. So we are going to work together with the different organizations, and there are so many partners also working in Mount Elgon, like the Livelihood Program and the Western Tree Planters Association. And we are going to make sure that we are going to collaborate and make sure that we are doing restoration of Mount Elgon Forest. Mount Elgon Forest is the water tower of actually the western region. And without trees in Mount Elgon, the sources of water they are going to diminish. We might not have water in the lowlands. We might not have water to even water for drinking in the lowlands. So it is actually a must. It has to be done. We have to do reforestation of Mount Elgon Forest.